let's get into it. Great night of basketball last night. Ja Morant just goes berserk on the Utah Jazz. 47 points in a losing effort. But I tell you what, Memphis is 1-1 in that series going home. So, we'll see if they can make this thing a series. But Ja Morant did his thing, and so did Trey Young. Now, again, in a losing effort, but Trey put 30 on the Knicks. That's 30 points, or 32 in his first night, 30 in his second ever playoff game at the Garden. And he went at it with the fans. And then Philadelphia just destroyed Washington. And there was a story or stories beyond the basketball, unfortunately. We all have been waiting to get the fans back in the stands, and the players included. Everybody is excited to start to get back to normalcy. And they've had thousands of fans in Philadelphia and in New York. And the fans in New York have been going wild.
Well, it's been a long time since, 2013 that they won a playoff game. I mean,
right.
That's a long time. This is 2021, 2013.
Carmelo Anthony was a Knick at that time. So was Amari Stoudemire, who's now a coach with the Nets. That's how long it was. But anyway, it was all good until one of the fans in New York, and there were two incidents. So a fan in New York, sitting in looks like the second or third row, tried to spit on Trey Young as Trey Young was taking the ball out of bounds.
How, Chris?
He didn't hit him. It looks like he missed him or maybe got him low, like on a leg.
Who's spitting on somebody? Like you're at a game. You just spent $400 for tickets. You got to be probably
he might have spent more because he's as close as he was sitting.
All right, he paid $800 for tickets, right? What are you doing? You got to be like you just spent $800 to go to a ball game. I'm going to say you're a certain degree of person, Chris, whether you're educated.
You're a degenerate.
But obviously
to spit
you have
on
to
somebody
be, right?
like that is ridiculous.
But you know what I'm saying? Like the average Joe who in the street you might say this guy's a bad guy or there's some issues here. You would say, okay, but he don't have money to buy Knick tickets for $800 to sit that close. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand this.
Now, this was a young dude, and I don't know his personal situation. All I know is you shouldn't be spitting on anybody. Anybody. And he did it publicly and spit. Not to mention, Rob, we are still in a pandemic. The dude had a mask on. It was obviously taken down below his chin.
So he pulled his mask down.
Why are you wearing a mask? Yes. I mean, you're wearing a mask so we don't catch your spittle, your saliva, your germs.
That's shooting out of your mouth every time you talk. Right.
And yet you spit on the utmost in ignorance and lunacy and debauchery. And then we go to Philadelphia, and this wasn't as bad, although Russell Westbrook felt he was for sure.
Was it rock hard
twisted his ankle, and as he was leaving the court, a fan dumped popcorn on his head from, above where Westbrook was walking in the tunnel or entering the tunnel. And Westbrook was ready to fight. Westbrook had to be held back by like 5 guys so he couldn't get to the fan. And, of course, Westbrook's had so many incidents like this, right? I remember a couple years ago, the fan in Philadelphia rolled up to him and gave him the finger with both hands. This other situations elsewhere, Salt Lake City. So those two incidents, both teams gave the same punishment, and they banned each fan. The Knicks banned their fan who tried to spit on Trey Young from Madison Square Garden indefinitely. And the Philadelphia 76ers, the guy in Philly was a season ticket holder. They took away his season tickets and banned him for life indefinitely from their arena.
Let me tell you why there's no way I would throw popcorn on a player from the stands. There's no way I'm dumping a $13 tub of popcorn, Chris, and wasting it.
I believe you, actually. As frugal as you are.
$13 for popcorn? Like what is it, magic popcorn? I get it. is dumb. It's not nearly, Chris. No, you shouldn't dump popcorn on anybody, but the popcorn and the spitting are two different leagues.
Absolutely.
To me. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I'm not making light of Westbrook being upset about it, but I just really like popcorn.
Yeah, look, Westbrook obviously is a very high-strung individual. And he was upset. They had been pummeled. He had injured his ankle. And that seemed like it was just the last straw. I'm with you. I'm fine with I'm not going to bat for this fan. You know, you do something like that, you suffer the consequences. And they need to put in hefty consequences so that the fans know that they're deterred from doing things like this. So if you can get banned indefinitely for dropping popcorn on a player, then you better not throw a beer at a guy or
right.
A battery or anything. So that's what the players want. And I get it. We don't want them going up into the stands. And Westbrook tried. Thankfully, he was held back. But we do not want players under any circumstances going up into the fans and fighting with the fans like Metta World Peace did in Detroit, back at the Malice in the Palace. I believe it was 2004. We don't want that, and the only way to stop that is to come down harshly on the fans, so strong that they will be deterred from doing things like this. And so that's what the teams did, and I think the punishments were fine. Here's what Metta World Peace, Rob, appeared on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon today. He addressed it. Here's what he said.
When I got drafted, I went right back to the hood. Like, literally, I had my whole hood at the draft. You know, we're taught like different, right? And that's just not acceptable. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I've seen people die for less. With the fans, man, I really hope that if they get banned, that's cool, whatever the case may be. But I hope that they think about this, and they also need to show the face publicly. You can't just be banned and not show face publicly. Come on the shows. Why did you do that? You gotta face that. You just can't go off in a sunset and people just forget about you.
I feel that, Rob. Like, and I'm not saying you gotta, make the dude some type of show pony, but hey, when the articles are written, when the news telecasts deal with it, put his picture up there and his name.
But they've done that, and people have lost jobs. I mean, that stuff happens when people, they spot somebody from their place of employment and they're doing something out in public. We've seen people lose jobs over it. Fighting in a restaurant, Chris, or you know what I mean, or berating. Who was the woman at ESPN who berated the parking attendant? You remember?
I remember that.
Her career
was it Britt McHenry?
Yeah. What happened to her after
She's
that?
somewhere. She's
right, but it hurt her.
Might be with Fox.
But it hurt her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And and I didn't know Britt well. I mean, I barely knew her at all. And our interaction was nice and sweet and all that. It was, man. I look, we all can have a bad moment, Rob, but man, that looked bad, didn't it?
It just looked bad.
Oh
I'm with you.
It looked like the
what are you
ultimate in
thinking?
arrogance, right?
And then, they calling the woman fat and look at the job you have and I'm on TV. That was bad. This stuff is bad. And people need to understand, you just can't treat people like that. And if players are crying that they don't want fans to boo them. I've heard players say that. How could you boo? If I was a fan, I would never boo. I don't buy into that, Chris. Like you can't boo a poor performance or you're disappointed. You pay your money, you can do that. As long as you keep your hands to yourself, you don't use racial slurs and talk about people's families and kids. I'm cool with. I'll never be against fans having the right to show their displeasure or boo. Do you remember when I think we were still doing a show from the studio and the Dodgers lost? You remember they kept Kershaw in and they gave up a home run or whatever.
Right.
And the people remember they walked out in mass? They were pissed.
Yep.
Right? They were like, again, here we go. We're not going to win a World Series. It's been 30 years. They just walked out and they booed on their way out. Were you mad at them? I wasn't.
No, I'm with you. I want not only cheering, but booing, jeering, trash talk. Yes. It makes it better. I mean, what we're watching in New York with Trey Young and the Knicks fans. Now, again, this dude took it too far by spitting on him. I think the fans are taking it too far with the profanity. But there's a limit that you can go to, and it makes the game better. This series is better now. Trey might be enjoying it more. Like, I think this is great when the home fans are giving an opponent the business. That's the home court advantage.
We love the business. Yes.
Just keep like there's a line we all know. There's a line. We talk about the unwritten rules in baseball, Rob. We all know, right? That the general unwritten line. You know things you shouldn't say, where you shouldn't go to. And as long as you don't cross that line, I want you to get on the opposing players.
Do you remember, Chris, 86 World Series, Mets and Red Sox,
and
the chant for Darryl Strawberry? You remember that? Darryl! Like the whole stadium was just chanting his name because he had struck out or missed a ball or whatever. But my point is, it just became a part of like the presentation, the event. And it wasn't racist. It wasn't mean-spirited. That's when fans, I think, just add something to it when they can all do something like that. And they were just jeering him. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't bad. It added to the moment. It added to it.
But you fans, you got to understand, and Rob and I have been fans as well, just because you paid money to get into this event does not give you the right to insult someone in ways that cross the line. It doesn't. You can go there, you can do your thing, trash talk them all you want, but it does not give you the right to, even Rob in this business, we don't go in personally on athletes.
No.
We keep it to the sports and the public stuff that's going on. We don't we know things about athletes. We don't go there.
Things. Exactly.
There's
That's
no
not
reason
our
to
place.
go there.
There's no reason to do that. Right. Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with fans. There's a line.